What if I told you that building serious, life-changing wealth has less to do with a fancy degree or some complicated spreadsheet and way more to do with the simple habits of a janitor? We're kind of sold this idea that finance is this hard science, right? Full of crazy rules you have to be a genius to understand. But the real truth is, financial success is actually a soft skill. It's where how you behave is so much more important than what you happen to know. So let me tell you a story about two guys. On one hand, you've got Ronald Reed. He was a janitor and a gas station attendant his entire life. On the other, you've got Richard Fiscone, a Harvard-educated, high-flying executive at Merrill Lynch. Now, one of them quietly built a massive fortune, while the other went bankrupt. Who do you think is who? Okay, that number you're looking at, $8 million. That was Ronald Reed's net worth when he died, the janitor. His secret? He just quietly saved what little he could, he put it into good, solid blue-chip stocks, and then he just waited. That's it. No crazy strategies, no high-risk bets, just patience. And that's the question that just baffled everyone. How on earth does a man with zero formal training, no powerful connections, and no fancy education completely outperform someone who had literally every advantage you can think of? And look, this story isn't some one-off fluke. It happens all the time in the world of money, and it reveals a really powerful secret. So what was the real difference here? Well, Richard Fuscone, the executive, he got greedy. He took on a mountain of debt to pay for this huge, lavish lifestyle, and when the 2008 crisis hit, poof, he was wiped out. Ronald Reed, on the other hand, was just patient. That's the whole story. In the end, his patience absolutely crushed Fuscone's greed. His behavior was more important than his intelligence. So if patience is the key behavior, what's the engine that it actually unlocks? Well, it's a concept that's been called the eighth wonder of the world. It's the silent multiplier of your money, compounding. To put it really simply, compounding is your money making money. And then the money that money made starts making its own money. It's a super quiet process at first. It starts so small you can barely even notice it, but give it enough time and it creates this unstoppable snowball of growth. Let's actually look at the numbers, because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say you invest 1 lakh rupees and get a 10% return. Okay, so after 10 years, you've got about 2.6 lakh. Not bad, right? After 20 years, it's up to 6.7 lakh. Pretty good. But just look at the jump in that third decade. It explodes to over 17 lakh rupees. The growth isn't a straight line. It's a curve that gets steeper and steeper. And this chart just brilliantly shows that snowball effect in action. In those first 10 years, your investment grows by about 1.6 lakh. In the second decade, it grows by more than double that. But in the third decade alone, it grows by a massive 10.7 lakh. That's more than the first 2 decades put together. That is the silent multiplier kicking in to absolute high gear. So the secret ingredient here isn't some super complex financial model. It's not about having some secret inside stock tip. It's time. The single most powerful factor in this entire equation is just the length of your runway. How long you can stay patient and just let the process work its magic without messing with it. Okay, so if the math is this simple and this powerful, you have to be wondering, why aren't we all multimillionaires? Well, it's because while the math is simple, our brains are, well, they're complicated. We are all fighting against these invisible scripts about money that are constantly holding us back. And I'm sure this feels familiar, right? You've tried the budgeting apps, the spreadsheets, all the strict rules. And you just get what some people call budgeting exhaustion. You start feeling guilty just for buying an ice cream. That's because we're trying to use logic to fight these really deep-seated psychological triggers. And it's a battle we're probably going to lose. You see, our brains are basically hardwired to work against long-term thinking. There's this thing called present bias, which just means we want the small reward now way more than the huge reward later. We make emotional decisions, selling everything when we're scared and buying like crazy when we're greedy. And so many of us operate from a scarcity mindset, this deep-seated fear that there's just never going to be enough. Man, this quote just gets right to the heart of it, that scarcity mindset. It feels like you're being responsible, doesn't it? Holding on to cash just in case. But that white-knuckle grip, that absolute fear of letting your money go, is the very thing that prevents it from ever going to work for you. It literally chokes off growth before it even has a chance to start. So how do we get out of our own way? Well, the solution isn't trying to be more disciplined or finding a better spreadsheet. It's about building a better system. It's about putting your mindset over the math. The real goal here is to just sidestep our emotional brain completely. You want to design a system where the logical, wealth-building choice becomes the default setting, the automatic path of least resistance. You don't need more willpower. You just need a smarter setup. And the system itself is incredibly simple. First, you pay yourself first. This means your investment is the most important bill you have to pay each month, not just some leftover afterthought. Second, make it automatic. Set up recurring transfers to your investment accounts for the day you get paid. This takes all the emotion and inconsistency right out of the equation. And third, you just let time work. Commit to the plan and let that amazing compounding engine do all the heavy lifting for you. This is such a powerful way to think about it. Every single rupee you have is a potential worker. If it's just sitting idle in a bank account earning next to nothing, it's basically unemployed. By automating your investments, you are immediately putting that money to work. You're giving it a job, making sure it's being productive, and building your future 24/7. Okay, so we've covered the how, but it's just as important to really get the why. What are we actually aiming for here? Because it's really easy to get confused between being rich and being wealthy. And the real prize, it's the one you can't see. Just think about this paradox for a second. It's so true, right? We buy expensive things because we hope to get admiration and respect from other people. But when other people see us with those things, they don't really admire us. They just use our stuff as a new benchmark for what they want. It's a game you can't win. And this brings us to a really crucial point. The fancy car, the big house, the expensive watch, that's not wealth. That's just spending. It's the visible tip of an iceberg. True wealth is invisible. It's the assets you haven't spent.
This is the real goal. Wealth is the portfolio of investments that's working for you silently, in the background. It's the income you didn't spend. It's the foundation that gives you real freedom, flexibility, and the ultimate prize of all, control over your own time, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. And honestly, achieving this is, at its core, a psychological shift. It's about letting go of that fearful, tight-fisted scarcity mindset and embracing an abundance mindset, one that trusts in your ability to earn, trusts in the power of compounding, and sees every single investment as an opportunity for future growth and freedom. So I'll just leave you with this thought. Every rupee you manage to save and invest isn't just a number on a screen. It's a seed. It's potential. It's the potential for a future where you are the one in control. It's the building block of your own freedom. So the only question left is, what will you transform it into?